All right. We're with the Gauntlet group, and we're playing a a hack written by Lowell Francis for Powered by the Apocalypse, from based on the World of Darkness Changeling the Lost, which is, I love World of Darkness. It's one of my favorite things to play in the world. I love Changeling a ton. It's probably my favorite thing in World of Darkness to play. So I'm really excited about giving this this a try out and see how it goes. I haven't run it before. Patrick is lucky enough to have played once before with Lowell, and I've talked with Lowell some, so I'm hoping we could I could do it. I feel confident. We're going to have fun. So I want to start off by saying that this is, as a Gauntlet game, we have the Gauntlet inclusivity policy. Everyone should feel free and welcome to let me know and say something if things are bothering you. We will also have the X card in play, which if you haven't heard of before, if something gets problematic or it's just taking away from your fun, and we're all here to have fun, you can always put up an X like this, put something in the chat bar, say something to me. We'll rewind where that is. I may ask you to, where was the problem there, so I can just know to get around it, and we'll move on. And feel free to do it. There is absolutely no, I want everyone to feel like that is a safety precaution that you can use. I'm not going to do a roses and thorns at the end of the first one, but hopefully when we get to the end of the second one, I'd love to do a roses and thorns there, where we talk about what we think of the system and what we liked and didn't like along the way, as well as, what I did wrong, which I'm sure will be plenty of things. Patrick and I are married, and I depend on him a ton. He has very graciously read through these rules along with me. I may dip to him occasionally and say, "What was that?" But don't be surprised if he has some rule suggestions along the way. And other than that, why don't we introduce everyone down and start with saying what you've decided is your playbook. And so I'm going to go down my list. So Asher, would you like to introduce yourself and your character?
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Asher. I think this is my third Gauntlet game, but before that, I played a little Mage and skimmed through the Changeling book. So it seemed very interesting, and so I'm really excited for the melding of the two. Anyway, so I chose Darkling as my playbook.
Awesome, cool playbook. Have you had a chance to look over and start picking, filling in the character? You still need a little time.
I'm not really sure. Main and mask, are these things we just come up with? Or are they listed somewhere?
They are. There's stuff you come up with.
Okay.
It will be what you are to normal mortals. What do they see you when they look at you? And the other is, what is your fantastical, your fayish nature, your changeling nature? And you can go to whatever extreme you want in that. As you can see in the NPC pictures, there's some mighty strange looking folks there. And it'll have something to do with your the person who took the fae that took you and the place they took you. You should have it kind of flow a little bit from that. And of course, from your kith. So kind of give a look through, and we'll go ahead and introduce everyone, and then we can start clarifying some of the characters down. So right. Derek?
I am playing Cal, who is a Hunterheart beast. Cal is an ex-con who was actually taken basically on the day of his release, and then used as quarry for hunts. And prior to each hunt, they gave him the option of whether he wanted to be the hunter or the hunted, and he always refused to be the hunter. He just didn't want to do that until one day he gave in, and then transformed into a beast, and it all kind of became a blur. It's a haze. He doesn't remember the details, but the next thing he remembers is coming out of the hedge because of a scent overwhelming him. And when he comes out, it's 10 years from when he was released.
All right, excellent. Philip, want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. So I would like to play an elemental, specifically an elemental of blood. His name will be Red right now. He was captured by the Fae during maybe an operation or some kind of well, the Fae was pretending to be a patient of his. He was a doctor before being kidnapped. After that, for some time, he was used as a living statue, being bled in the garden. And when his master decided that he's bored with this of the statue, he used him as a source of water or liquid for growing up something in the hedge. And from there, he was able to escape.
Excellent. Patrick, would you like to introduce yours?
So I'm playing a Wizened, Winter Court. I'm still working on a name. I'll get back to you on that. But he was taken by the Fae. I think it was a particular Fae mistress that he was with, who sort of believed that her words were too weighty and important for the ears of lesser creatures. So she had a whole cadre of different forms of interpreters, to where she would talk to where only they could hear, but then they would interpret and sort of spread her communications to other people. So you have like interpretive dancers and like people playing instruments, and mine was an artist, so he would paint the words that she was saying. But all of their own individual voices were taken away because it wasn't important what they were having to say. It was what they were translating for her. So I went with a mouthpiece Kith, and I think he, in like a very quiet one-on-one situation in an empty room, he can sort of whisper and talk to another person. But whenever there get to be more people around, or especially if it's in public or noisy, he just physically can't talk loud enough to be heard. So the only way he can communicate is through painting, through art that sort of carries emotional context with it.
Awesome, very neat. And Asher, I sort of short-shifted you there. I ended up going down and everyone gave kind of a overview of their characters. So would you like to tell us about yours?
I was still putting it together, so that's okay. I imagine mine is more like a spy type of character. So since she's a darkling, like she would have been taken for transgressing. And so I think after coming back to like human world, she keeps doing that for the group she's with. Yeah.
Okay, for your motley. Okay.
Yeah, the motley.
Excellent. And oops, I muted myself. What I'm going to do is give everyone a little chance. I know, Philip, you've gotten yours pretty much complete. Has anyone else like pretty much gotten theirs completed yet?
I'm a good way through.
Okay. So I'll give a little time for everyone to get a chance to kind of look through these moves, and I'm going to go over real quick. We are in Chicago, which is one of my favorite cities to play in. It is a Chicago that is a little darker than our own version. It is more violent. There is more street crime. The authorities are more oppressive than in our world. And Patrick's computer just restarted, so he's frozen. But I'll continue along anyway. But the Changelings of Chicago have been lucky that this city has protected them for years. It is a bustling city, and the energy and the excitement have allowed the courts to set up their protections so that the true fae seldom are able to come in. The way the courts protect a city is they, working together, they set up obstacles and tricks, riddles and mazes that could keep the true fae from being able to directly influence it. The true fae respond by sending in privateers, which are changelings, but who still serve the true fae. And most changelings who have escaped consider them the absolute lowest of the low. They are vile, vile people who wish to find changelings who escaped and bring them back in chains, traitors to their own kind. But Chicago has been mostly peaceful throughout its history, avoided this sort of problem because of really the energy that Chicago provides. And the courts have always worked well together, each in their season, flowing through. However, in the last 8 to 10 years, the courts have stopped being as capable of communicating and cooperating. Part of it is kind of an evolution of animosity and old grudges. Part of it is the city itself has become more violent, and that has caused the changelings to reflect that. They're not the same people of the 1920s or 1940s that are ruling these courts. These are now younger, more volatile, and they're having clashes. This has resulted in privateer incursions on occasion, and it's also led to a lot of motleys becoming all of one court. It's meant that groups have started forming so that there's less trust between the courts, so motleys tend to be more homogenized. You guys are probably one of the more unusual in that you come from multiple courts, and you will be all a motley. You'll know each other. You're friends. There, of course, can be rivalries and difficulties, but you're all friendly and know each other. I want to go over real quick a little bit of the rules before we start. You will see that we have 6 states. The way our game is played is for moves, your move will say make a roll. You will choose then what state most reflects how you're feeling, how you're handling the situation. You can, it's to prompt, because this is coming off of Fraser Simon's Veil in a lot of ways, this stat setup. And it's to help push a little bit into the role play. It's to help you focus in on the motivations of the character. And you'll see that Patrick in the chat has put up the Veil's emotion wheel, which is enormously helpful because it gives a little spread out. The only difference is being that you'll note there is a slight difference in the stat names. Mad is angry in ours, and sorrowful is, or sad is sorrow. But I think that you can see where they correspond. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask. We'll be rolling 2 dice, adding them together, plus whatever state you chose. And of course, you should be role-playing out that state. Every time we roll one of the states, you'll see underneath it, there's a little box, little bubble. We'll mark one of those each time you roll that state. When you fill up all the boxes of a state, it becomes spiked. And what that means is you are kind of focused in on that emotional state. It's hard for you to break out of whatever it is. And it will give you +1 whenever you roll using that state, but it will give you -2 when you roll any other state. While it is spiked out, each time you roll it, it will drop a box. It will clear a box. Once it gets down to 0, you pop out of the spiked state. Everything goes back to normal. If you roll something that you're not spiked in, you'll take the -2, but it will immediately drop the one that's spiked down to 0. You come out of the spiked state, and you will still mark a box in the one that you just used, which theoretically could spike you in it, but that would be unusual. We will do some things during the course of the game where I may offer you a choice of picking up an extra bubble in there where you're highlighting it, a tough choice or something along those lines. We may see some things in moves which allow us to take one away as well. So we'll kind of play with that. Other than that, you will get rid of them. There are several moves which let you try and get, move them down, get it out of spike. Your friends can help you, that sort of thing. But we'll see those in play and with the moves as we go through. I want to mention clarity, which is basically your ability to maintain the real world and the Fey world. It is a little bit of going mad. Things all through the game will increase. Patrick, you're back with us, yay. Can you hear us?
Yes. My computer just decided it really wanted to restart right then.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But we're just going over some rules and stuff about Chicago. With your clarity, there will be times that you start marking it. Once it gets to a full, you will get a clarity advance, which is there beside the clarity chart. And then it will drop all the way back down and continue going up. You could choose each of those advances, but it is as you're moving, it is a little bit of going mad, because as you see, one of those choices is retire your character and he becomes an NPC and a powerful NPC. So it is the chances there of going insane and losing your character. We shouldn't have to worry about that in 2 sessions. It would be enormously surprising if we do that. Harm in this game is handled with the conditions, which you'll see on your character sheet on the playbook. It's the conditions. Whenever you get harmed, you'll be marking conditions. They represent 2 harm, but there is no change getting back. So if you take 1, you will mark a condition. If you take 2, you'll mark 1 condition. If you take 3 harm, you'll mark 2 conditions. And you see that there's, angry and instinctual for the beast, and guilty and hopeless and insecure. All of those next to them have a set of moves that they affect. And where it says disadd, if you have marked that condition, then you will be rolling with disadvantage, which means rolling 3 dice, taking the lower 2. You'll note also on there, there is wounded, and it doesn't have anything beside it. You can mark it, and it doesn't affect your moves. However, during the course of the game, you will probably want to heal yourself and heal your conditions. Wounded is the hardest to try and fix because it's an actual physical injury, and it means that you have to go and get medical care or find some sort of magic or take just time with it. So while it doesn't have a disadvantage to it, it is very difficult to get rid of. The others can be gotten rid of by basically leaning into the condition, as in if you are angry, when you have a little time, you can move off and fall into your anger, beat up someone, break something, and you'll see that in our moves it is listed what the various things are for each one, and it's under basic moves there at the bottom. Act, clear, condition. but mostly it is leaning into your whatever that condition is and getting it out of your system in a lot of cases. But that is your damage tracker. That's what you take as take for damage. Let's see, anything else really important for us to hit on? I don't think so. I think that's, we will have moves, especially when you start dealing with your supernatural things, which will call for catches. In the big document I gave you, there is a really cool list of ideas for catches, if we happen to have one. But like, for example, commission the creation of a duplicate object to something that's a catch. Consume the threads of a caterpillar's cocoon. And you will come up with, we'll come up together. You'll have this catch that you have to do to be able to do your supernatural ability. And finally, in all of this extremely complicated stuff, well, I think for the most part that is our set of rules. So there's really not even a finally. Patrick, is there anything you think we should add to that?
I'm not really sure because I didn't hear most of it.
Oh, well, I guess that's true. So then we'll say no. That makes me feel better.
Well, next to the emotions, there are the courts, right? What's that for?
Each of you will be choosing a court, and the court has an emotion that is associated with it. And like, for example, as we're looking at it here, you'll see that summer is anger. And what that means is you will be going out. There's a move to gather glamour, which allows you to, when you gather glamour, will let you do some healing. You can gather glamour to heal any condition other than wounded. So that's on its move. And you harvest glamour of your court. So we will go through finding a place where you could find anger, like a boxing ring or, I don't know, a political debate. But we go through where you find to harvest this glamour. You roll to see if you can manage to clear out some of your condition damage. And that's another means of healing. But again, it won't heal wounded. Yes.
Also, there are a couple moves that actually call out which stat you roll for them, and they say roll with a person's season, and so that means looking and seeing which what your stat is that's associated with their season. So right. If you're like trying to get a favor out of someone from summer, you'd be rolling with anger or something like that.
Any other questions? And I'll admit, a lot of this we will come up to in play. But any questions? All right. Then, has everyone had a chance to set their stats and pick some of their beginning moves and all that sort of thing? If so, why don't we go through now and tell a little bit about, maybe your moves, and we'll hear like the names of everyone who we didn't hear before. So, Asher, have you set on some moves, and what was your character's name?
I'm still working on it, so I'll
that's okay.
Later.
Okay. Want me to? I'll scoot down to someone else then, real quick. Derek, did you choose? Have you chosen your moves?
I have. I picked Show the Beast. When you frighten or cow others with your monstrous form, roll. On a hit, they're thrown off and make themselves vulnerable or flee. And then there's some options I can choose from.
Oh, nice. And what is your big starting one?
Oh, yeah, sorry. The starting move is Wild Ways. You can communicate with beasts of your kind. Choose one, armor +1, harm +1, AP harm, leaping, sprinting, special sense to represent your nature. You start with a den and a territory around that den that is yours.
Nice. Where do you think your den is?
I think it is a gnarled wood. So we're in Chicago, right? I'm not terribly familiar with Chicago. Are there any like big parks, like not as big as Central Park, but something like that?
There are a lot of parks there, and in fact, they have almost like a national wildlife reserve that is on the western side. But there are parks throughout it. There's not any of the big, huge ones like a Central Park,
right?
But there are a bunch of them. So yeah, there's plenty of them.
Okay, so let's just say I think it makes most sense for my den to be not in the middle of that big national reserve you were talking about, but kind of on the boundary between the urban and the wild thing.
Excellent.
And there's a little bramble patch or hedgerow that as you push through and go a little bit deeper, there's a little clearing in there that there's just some soft needles and boughs and all that stuff in there.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Philip, would you like to tell us your starting move and what other moves you've taken?
Sure. So the starting move is Primal Forces. When you channel and collect your energies, roll. On a 10+, hold 3. On 7-9, hold 3 and choose 1 below. On a miss, hold 1, but you cannot channel against in this scene. And it seems like channeling allows me to then cast additional sort of spells, like powers. And one of those is Disperse. Spend 1 hold to make yourself invisible from sight for a few moments. And Teleport. Spend 1 hold to teleport yourself a short distance within a scene you're in. This may pass through barriers. And additionally, there are 2 more moves from being elemental, which one is Psychometry. Whenever you study and examine an interesting object, roll, and I can ask some questions about this object. And Scrying, I can read a message at a distance, provided that my substance is at the scene.
Neat. I love those elementals. I think they're super cool. Patrick, have you settled on some moves, and what is your starting move?
Yes, and I went with, for a name, Whispering Echo. And I think Echo would be like what people called him.
Cool.
My starting move is Practice Perfection. You have a profession. When you carry out those tasks, you do so with skill, speed, efficiency, and beauty. If you wish to do better, you can call upon your supernatural reserves, roll and pick from the list. To do things like do it without tools or resources in a fraction of the time, with unearthly beauty, in a strange manner, in perfect secrecy, or with a hidden trick. But on a 7 to 9, there's a hidden flaw, cost, or unwanted attention. And so that's his painting, which is, he generally carries like a sketch pad around with him, and has lots of supplies back at where he lives, but also is not adverse to just painting on any flat surface.
Cool.
My other moves are Wordsmith, which is sort of twisted since I don't really talk in front of multiple people, but twisted for his art instead. But when you make a speech or address, you may not be interrupted by other conversation or social attacks. You can make your full declaration unless stopped by non-social means. You can hold forth for some time with non-changelings. Among changelings, it's only a few moments. And when I'm speaking to more than one person, I can shape or bend my message to convey different meanings to different people. And then Way of Thorns, it gives me an extra option on the Invoke Contract move. So I imagine it as sort of hypnotizing art or painting that someone gets lost in a fugue state in, and I can try to erase someone's short-term memories and maybe even change them.
Neat. Awesome. All righty. And Asher?
Right. I think I got this.
You
Because I realized it's a little different than the character sheet. So, my starting move is Know the Shadows. So when you scope out a person, place, roll on 10 plus, ask 2, what's my best way in or out? What happened here recently? What's worth grabbing? Who or what is not what they seem? Whose place is this? And I also chose Mimic, so you can appear to be someone you've met and interacted with. And then Lore, when you encounter a new type of supernatural creature, roll on a hit them, so will tell you a bit about it and how it can be killed.
Neat. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through our intro questions, and that's going to help define down what you're like. And so I'm going to go back up with starting with you, Patrick. And also during this, why not go ahead and tell us what your mean and your what's her other one, mask look like? Yes.
Sorry, did you say me first, or who was
Yes.
that?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with you and come back up.
Don't use you. Who are you talking to?
To you, Patrick.
Ah, thank you. So intro questions.
Yes, sir.
So my first one's who are you? Just whispering echo. How were you taken? I think I was always an artist, always artistic, and I think I went to school for it. And I was trying to make a living as a painter afterwards, which is not really a thing generally. And I think it was like a flyer on a billboard talking about like private lessons or some sort of advanced art technique class that I was going to try to be the next step to get me through. And it was Deal with the Devil mentor who kept offering like you're not communicating. I can give you a voice. I can make it so that people hear you. And it's just what he didn't realize, that the voice he was being given wasn't his own.
Neat.
I think the Durance that was at the Lament Panopticon, just because that sounds awesome.
Good work. What was it like?
It was I think like a circular crystal palace up on a mountain. Like I said, it was a very haughty, self-important Fey mistress who liked to have a perch where she could see all of her lands around, where she could focus in on any one person, and where she could be seen and sort of glinting up in the heights by everyone around. And so people would come to this crystal palace to like experience the performance of her words.
And as she would speak, you and others like you would interpret them.
Sort of a whole carnival affair going on around her of all these different artistic interpretations of her words.
Very neat. Very interesting. All righty.
And you said Mask and Mean. I think he's small. He's like 5'6" or so and very thin. Dark hair and sharp features. but in his in his fairy self, he has skin that I put down as skin like a lava lamp mood ring. It's just constantly shifting sort of blobs of different colors that react to sort of his state and emotions, and his skin seems like wet and pliant and dripping to a degree. Like he's not entirely solid, but more like living paint.
Gotcha. Like paint that's not quite gotten to dry, but still has that little skin to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nice. How long were you in the hedge?
Or how long have I been out of the hedge?
Yeah, been out of the hedge.
I think it's been a couple of years. I think it's been long enough that it's sort of settled in on him that he's not going to suddenly reacclimate and start being able to communicate with people normally. That it's not something that's going to fade away or he'll get used to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that does bring up, how long were you in the Durance? And how long in like the real world was that?
I think he was taken maybe in like the early to mid 80s, like 84.
Okay.
And
so, about 30 years.
Yeah.
Or so. And did it seem like 30 years? Did it seem like a moment, or did it seem like an eternity?
I don't know if it seemed quite like an eternity, but it definitely felt like at least a lifetime of not being allowed a personal identity or thoughts or a voice, of just living in this in-between state for someone else.
And it sounds like we know what you were trained to do.
Mm-hmm.
What rule is most important to you?
I think it basically comes down to like my voice is my own. I believe that in an artistic sense too. Like I'm very very against like plagiarism or taking credit or interpreting someone else's work in order to like slant it towards your view.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent. Well, Philip, why don't we go through your questions and hear your mien and mask?
Sure. So I think that for mien, Red will be missing some parts of his body that will be filled up instead with blood, and forming limbs or pieces of his body, basically. And the blood is coming from cuts and wounds in his body, while his mask, he will try to be like this kind doctor still that he used to be before, but since he isn't anymore, it's coming off pretty creepy, and he's not very good with people anymore. Yeah, that's about it.
Does the part of you that's blood, does that shift? Is it your hand always is blood, or does it move around in different parts of you? Or
I think it's cool if it moves around.
I think that's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, we know who you are. You are Red. How were you taken?
So I think, as I said, the Fae was pretending to be a patient, and to innocent seeming questions, will you give me blood? The doctor said yes, and that was basically
whisked away.
Yes, as a agreement to a pact where he will be indeed giving his blood. fulfill his needs.
Where did you serve your durance? What was it like?
There is the 17 needles that I think fits perfectly
Nice.
on the list.
What did that look like?
Well, as at the beginning, as a statue with those needles probably plugged into him and drawing blood, and I don't know what's the word in English. Well, the blood was flowing out of him through
Like syringes or catheters.
Yes, catheters. Yes, exactly. That's the word. And that was at the beginning, and afterwards as a watering system, human watering system for. There were some hedge fruits, right, at somewhere there. So yeah, used to grow red apples or some other kind of red fruit in the hedge.
Okay. Was it set up like some sort of hospital? Was the blood drawn from you? Where was it going?
I was thinking more of a sprinkler system, basically.
Gotcha. All right. Interesting. All right. How did you escape?
I think his master or his mistress just forgot about him in the hedge, and at some point he was able to collect enough strength to free himself from whatever shackles were used to keep him in place. Get control of his blood, and then drag himself out of the hedge.
Excellent. What don't you understand about the world now? And in that sort of same vein, when were you taken? How long have you been back out?
I think it's pretty short duration, maybe a couple of years. I have some troubles really answering that question. What could not understand? Can I think about it a little more?
Certainly you can. What do you hear when you close your eyes and listen?
The beating of the heart, pulsing and pushing the blood through.
Is it your own heartbeat, or is it a different one?
I don't know if they have hearts, but it would be cool if it was the heart of his master.
Oh, I like that too. So you have this, if you listen, this other heartbeat going. That's very neat.
Yes, there is some kind of connection with the master. Like he remembers that that he had this statue.
Wonderful. Excellent. All righty then. Well, let's go over and let's see. Is it our Darkling? Yes, our Darkling. Derek.
Oh, I'm the beast.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Then. So, Derek.
So my mean, kind of your classic werewolf man-wolf hybrid look. Not as like big and hulking, more like, maybe a little bit broader shoulder, but like, 5'10", like average height, not, the huge 7-foot monsters. The mask is all I wrote down was just hairy. So like I'm kind of imagining Hugh Jackman from Logan, just full beard, grizzled, that kind of look.
So are you older?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, neat. We've got your name, Cal. Is that right?
Cal, yeah.
Cal. How were you taken?
So, like I said, it was the day I was released, and I was getting on the bus from the prison, and I had $20 in my pocket and the clothes on my back, and that's about it. And as I was getting on, I noticed the bus driver had like long, pale hair, and she kept like brushing it to like hide her face or her ear or something. Wasn't quite sure what that was. But then I caught a glint of like maybe it was a fang, but I thought it was just my eyes. And we just kept driving. And as I looked out the windows, it got darker and more wooded, and I was confused. And then the bus stopped and no one was out there. The driver was gone, and when I walked out the door, I was in the hedge.
Were you alone on the bus when you when you left, and were you alone on the bus when you got out?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I was not alone when I left. However, I was alone when I got off. I don't every time I would look out a window and look back, someone else had disappeared. There were only a handful of us on the bus to begin with, though.
But they just would just drop away.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. Nice, creepy. All right. Where did you serve your durance?
There was the Woe-Given Forests, I think, makes the most sense.
And you say you were the hunted because you refused to hunt, right?
Right. And then eventually I gave in, and then I became the wolf hunter thing.
Was the bus driver the one that was your beastmaster mistress?
Yeah.
Okay. Did she compete with other Fae? Did she use you to hunt as like a prize hound to others, or did you not see any other Fae but her?
I think it was solitary. Like, it was just her taking us out on hunts.
Gotcha. For the joy of the hunt itself, was she more interested in the chase or the kill?
The chase, for sure.
All right. How did you preserve the lost shreds of your humanity?
So I think while I refused to be a hunter, I had just like I did in prison, had a folded up picture of my fiance, never married, but more committed than just boyfriend and girlfriend, and that kept me going. But once I gave in, I lost my humanity, and it's all just a blur from that point.
And she waited for you to get out of prison. You figure she waited on after that?
Actually, I think she moved on because I disappeared, and like I said, that was 10 years ago. I disappeared, and I don't think she even knows I'm back. I think I went to show up, and there's someone else there, and I left. Like, couldn't deal with it.
Did you? How long have you been back?
Couple years, I think.
Okay. Excellent. Let's see. What is your chosen territory? Where do you hunt?
I think so. My den is next to that preserve area. So I think definitely that area, but also just the wild parks and wild lands of Chicago in general, I kind of take under my wing.
Okay, so you protect those places. You feel a responsibility.
Right.
Okay. And what court were you again?
Autumn.
So, in your territory, in your place you protect, you feel responsible for. Do you gain glamour there? Do you frighten people or look for those that are frightened there? Or do you hunt, do you gain glamour elsewhere?
I think that's definitely one of the places I gain glamour. One of the ways I think I get it is, when someone is waiting to ambush someone else in the parks, I instead turn it around and make the hunted out of the hunter kind of idea, and then out of their fear is how I gain glamour.
Nice. And what won't you do to keep your motley mate safe? Where is that line?
I think I know my line is killing. I did too much of it in the hedge. I was just a murderous beast, and I can't cross that line again.
Nice. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Cool. All right. And Asher, your Darkling. Have you gotten a name?
Carol Reed.
Okay. And how were you taken?
I imagine more like a fairy tale thing. So like I was sleeping on a moonless night, and it suddenly got even more dark, and then I think the fairy came up from like the sewers 'cause that's like the big darkling thing, I think. And it was probably like, oh, I can make your dreams come true, you know,
Okay.
take you to this fairyland.
How old were you?
I imagine that I was still a kid, maybe like in elementary school, so like 10 or something, right?
Okay. What did this fairy look like?
It's a good question.
You can think on it a bit if you want. We get back to it, or what popped to your mind first when you heard the question?
Well, I'm still just thinking like fairy tale, right? So it would probably look like a classical fairy, maybe like sparkly, like Tinkerbell or something.
All right. So seemed very seductive. Certainly something that a kid would be excited about. She lured you down, and I'm guessing she was not the pleasant fairy you had hoped. Where did you serve your durance?
I wasn't sure what all these places were.
They're open to your interpretation. They're just meant for something to spark your imagination, or you can come up with something different if you want.
Okay, I was imagining like a garden, like the poison garden. I don't know if you know about that. So it's like I was like forced to garden, but there were like all these terrible creatures I was gardening, you know?
Oh, cool. Were there others? She have others besides you there?
Probably, yeah. I imagine there were others.
Were they all kids?
Yeah. Mostly kids.
Okay, I like that. Did you age during your durance? Have you grown up?
That's a good question, because when you asked about all the kids, I imagine that they didn't age.
Well, I mean, you can, of course, it could be some process that when they get to a certain age, something happens to them, or you could physically still be small, but you've aged.
Yeah, I think I would still be the same age, but I had like a little brother, so when I come back, I get to see him. He's all grown up, you know?
Neat. Okay. So how long do you figure that was? Were you in your durance for 10, 15 years?
Yeah, 10 years sounds reasonable.
How long have you been back?
Let's say another 10 years.
So you've been back
so I'm
a
pretty
while.
established, yeah.
Okay. All right then. So you say that you saw your brother had gotten older. Did you try to contact your family?
I think I was just watching. I didn't really establish contact though.
Okay. What is your kith, your mien and your mask? What do you look like to the Fae, and what do you look like to normal people?
I actually had a picture of this yesterday, but I'm so annoyed that I didn't take the picture of the picture. But so the mask is like I'm wearing all black, and then the purse has like a keyring dangling off it with like old-fashioned keys. And then the mien, I like the melting, but I think there's like a little shimmer as I'm melting. But the melting doesn't look like it's water, right? Like it's not. It's still matte. Like my skin's still matte. So it doesn't look wet. It's just like normal skin, like dripping.
And does it like it ripples down, or does it actually drip off of you?
I think it ripples down.
Just constant flow of it just moving down you.
And then if you look close, you probably notice like parts are missing, but it's like dripping over that, so you can't really see.
Oh, neat. Cool. What did the gentry use to change you? What they, was it a substance, or was it magic, or what did they use to make you into what you are?
Oh, I was just thinking it was like the gardening, right? Like I'm taking care of these terrible creatures so that they would be like biting me or doing
Okay.
weird things. Yeah.
So, like, it's a culmination of all of the poison bites and all the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Who did you watch? Well, we've established who did you watch from your past life.
Right.
Sounds like your little brother and some of your family. And you didn't go back to them, which is probably for the best. It's always bad when you try and go back and say, no, it's really me. But do you continue? You've been back 10 years. Do you still look in on them? Do you feel a certain responsibility to them, or have you said, this is the past and I have to move on?
I think I've said this is the past and I have to move on, but I still like Google them sometimes, just to see, like,
Right.
keep in because it's so easy now.
Do they live in Chicago?
Probably like on the outskirts, like not Chicago proper.
Okay.
Yeah, but like a suburb or something.
Excellent. Okay. What court did you choose?
I think it's the Autumn Court. Or
Right.
yeah.
So when you gather glamour, you gather it from fear. How do you get that? How do you what sort of places do you go to gain that?
Well, when I was thinking about it yesterday, it was the Super Bowl. Yeah, so probably like big events, like I would take people aside and like scare them or something,
Okay. So it's so you hit concerts and sporting events and things like that where you personally where you're not waiting for people to be scared of something, you actually frighten them.
That's a good point.
I mean, that's perfectly viable. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how it most usually goes. Yeah.
Okay.
But I would still take advantage of other things in the news or whatever,
Right. Well, sporting events, you build up that paranoia of a terrorist attack or something. You play on that. Okay. And what strangeness are you currently investigating? What thing has caught your attention? You're trying to figure out.
Well, there was already something there. I was supposed to use that, or I'm not sure.
Okay.
I guess we'll go with the sporting thing. Like I saw someone from another court there, so so like they were trying to like sabotage the game or something. So I'm trying to figure out why that happened and what's going on.
How about we say you've started noticing like changelings that you've not seen before, or haven't been part of the court structure as you've known it. Newer faces. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've done our intro questions, and now we're going to do our depths.
Okay. I also saw there were like clarity moves on the old sheets. Is that still a thing? Or?
Yes. There are clarity moves, and like I say, you pick up clarity moves once you hit that 5th clarity dot. That'll clear out, and you get to buy one. We have a potential for probably getting one, I think.
Okay.
Because you'll have clarity break basically 5 times, then you'll get one.
I see.
It's an advancement. And we're going to go with our debts. And our debts they're really neat and interesting because they're a big part of kind of your interaction with the world. It's going to help set up what we have out there that's already the background of your character and neat stuff like that. Look through, I would bring up the NPC chart there, pictures there, and you'll just be able to pick someone out of there to fill your debts, and we'll everybody go through it, pick their stuff, and I'll let you kind of describe what they're like a little bit. So you'll see that it suggests that you have you should have one NPC who you owe a debt to, one NPC that owes a debt to you, and one that no. What's that, Patrick?
No, it's one to an NPC in your court, one to an NPC in another court, and at least one to a PC.
That's it. So one NPC in your court, one NPC out of your court, and one of your fellow players. And Patrick, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, is everybody? No, I think Patrick's winter court, aren't you?
Yep.
So our lone winter.
There's also a rival, right? Is that involved at all?
And we will pick that right after we do our debts.
Okay.
So, Patrick, would you like to go through your debts?
Sure. So, first one is you injured someone while clearing your fury, which is my seeming condition. What happened? And you owe them 2 debts. Just trying to find a good NPC here.
Okay.
I think it was Beck and Call from the Spring Court. And I think in a couple of like court situations or you know, like big meetings, when I was trying to get a point across, he took it on himself to like interpret for me and clarify what I meant to people, and stole the point that I was trying to make for himself and his own purposes. So what did I do? I think it was, I'm sorry, what was the question again? It was injured someone while clearing my fury.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So I think he tried to do it a third time, and I basically just beat him in public court with my painting, frame and all.
Oh my. Okay. And since you owe him debt, did he forgive you? Is that what ended up making the debt? Did he?
Yeah, I think he still managed to get one up on me because I couldn't explain adequately or so people could understand why I was so mad at him there in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so he made a big deal about like being the bigger person, and this is a peaceful court meeting, and I'm not going to take this further or press any charges or anything.
Okay. Excellent. Let's go ahead and do you another one, and then I think we'll go up and let everybody do 2, and then we'll come back through for the other 2.
All right. You're helping someone keep a dangerous secret. Do any of y'all feel like you have a secret you want me to be a part of?
How about this beating heart that I hear of my master? This means that he or she is actively looking for me right now, and your character would know about this. And
okay.
Obviously nobody wants to hang out around a changeling that is on somebody's, on some face shit list.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's good. I like that. So do you? Is it something that you think you like confessed to me one night, or were you like upset or drunk or just needed to tell someone, or what?
Maybe I was looking for help, for some kind of a device that would help me hide better, and that's why I came to ask for help.
Okay. Cool.
Excellent.
And it's Echo's a good one to go to. You figure he's probably not going to tell too many people. Cool. I like that. So I owe you a debt for that.
Oh, I thought that I will owe you a debt.
No, yeah. I believe Red owes you a debt.
Oh, nope. I'm sorry. Yep, you're right. They owe me a debt. Yep. That makes
Okay.
more sense.
Well, then let's go to you, Philip, and we'll do 2 of yours.
Okay. So someone makes sure you get access to your favorite glamour. You owe them 2 debts. So I was thinking that the favorite one for me would be going to ICU and sitting with people that are waiting for somebody who's undergoing an operation. As long as I'm still in the autumn court, because then I would be harvesting fear, and basically, sitting around them, being worried about their close ones would be the way to gather that.
And feel free to stay autumn if you want. It doesn't make it won't hurt anything if we have 3 autumns and 1 winter. If we feel like if you'd like to play something different, you certainly can. But it's not going to. It won't screw up any of the plan or the story. I don't think if y'all are primarily autumn. I think that's kind of cool.
Okay.
All right. So is it an NPC that gives you this access?
Well, unless anybody from the group would like to provide this access, this could be an NPC.
Okay. Any of I don't know if any of you feel you would have the ability to help him be in hospitals, but if not, then what NPC sort of catches your eye there?
Maybe maybe this Gloriana Twofold, Heart Spinner, Fairest of Summer.
All right.
Heart Spinner.
Gloriana. And she is Summer. And why do you think she hangs out at the hospitals? What does she do there that lets her have that as access?
So since she is in Summer, she's probably actively fighting against the Fae. And well, if you fight against privateers, then you need some place to heal wounds and to get medical care. So she basically controls the hospital and gets Changeling medical attention there.
Okay, so she's sort of the go-to when people get hurt. She's set herself up as that sort of thing. Then,
sure.
Nice. Okay, and your second one.
You destroyed or banished something or someone important at the request of someone. They owe you a debt.
Want to do that as a PC, or you have an NPC? Anybody want to jump on that as a PC?
Can you repeat it again? Sorry.
You destroyed or banished something or someone important at the request of someone. They owe you a debt.
Yeah, I could jump in on that. I think there was an incursion of I don't know if we want to say goblins or hobgoblins or something in my woods that I needed help with and I couldn't handle on my own.
Excellent. Okay, does that sound good? Sound good there?
Yeah, that sounds good.
And so the 2 of you, I'm guessing, fought together to defeat these things and ran them off. That's nice. All right. Let's shift down and do 2 then from Derek, from Cal.
So where on the sheets do we record these debts?
Let's see.
You can keep them in that section where the debts are listed and just like add more rows, or you could take it down into other stuff or below. I don't think there's a particular like well-placed section to keep track of them.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't missing something.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. So let's see here. I have 2 that are already kind of picked out for NPCs. However, I would be very open if any of the PCs want to jump in on either of these. I said you consider someone a friend even though the friendship keeps bringing you trouble. They owe you a debt. And I mean, if one of you kind of wants to feel like, I don't know, the newbie fuck up, we could go with that one. If not, I have an NPC we could use for that.
Anybody feel like being the one who comes to him causing trouble a lot?
All right. We'll go with so I picked Carpenter Husk out of the Autumn.
That's a cool picture.
Yeah, that's the main reason I picked it. And then I have someone keeps pulling your ass out of the fire, you owe them 2 debts, and I picked Regardless out of the Summer.
What was it? You're protecting someone. Which one was it? Oh, you keep pulling your ass out of the fire. That was it.
So yeah, someone keeps pulling my ass out of the fire. But again, if someone wants to jump in on that, I'm more than happy.
Anyone feel up on that one? Okay. Which NPC did you say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Regardless in the Summer Court.
All right. And Asher, let's go through 2 of yours there for Colleen, is that Carol?
Carol, yeah. So you're keeping something hidden from someone. They owe you a debt. Does anyone want to take that? Do you have any secrets? Or I guess I will have a secret from you.
Or notes, you're keeping something hidden for someone.
Oh,
so yeah, you're
right.
protecting something.
I misread it. Okay.
I'd be interested in that.
Okay.
All right. What is it?
What was your character name?
Echo.
Okay.
I think maybe it's a painting that I made. That I think it's obviously something fey, like some sort of dream that I got from the Fey realm or my keeper. That I'm not quite sure what it means yet. It's hard to interpret, but I know it's not something sort of like Red hearing that heartbeat. I know it's not something that I should really talk about. That sometimes I go into a fugue state and make paintings that are a message from the Fae.
And so you have Carol. You've given it to Carol to keep hidden away for you.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All righty. And your second one, Carol?
Someone is your go-to when you get into trouble. You owe them 2 debt.
Anybody want to take that? Who is Carol's go-to to when she has trouble? No one? All right. An NPC then?
I'm happy to take it.
Would you like to take that?
Sure.
Okay. Carol, what is it about Red that makes you trust him and feel like you can go when you have troubles like that?
I think we both are kind of like water element, right? So we both kind of look similar, at least in the mean. And we're both the same court and stuff, so.
Okay, so you feel that connection. You really feel like y'all are kind of brethren. Brothers, sisters. Yeah. Okay. That sound good, Red? All right. Patrick, let's go back and do your last 2.
All right. So I've got two more. One's got to be with an NPC, and the other will be with PC. So I'll just read both of them out and see if either of them catches someone's interest. So either someone hired me for a job and I fucked it up, or I'm leveraging dirt I have on someone for their help with something.
Anybody like either one of those?
What was the second one again?
Yeah.
I've got dirt on one of you, and I'm using it to get your help with something.
I could probably, I could do the second one. I think maybe the dirt is you've caught me sniffing around my ex-fiance's house and maybe getting a little too close. Ooh, actually better than that. So you know that I don't hide this a whole lot. You know I'm an ex-con. However, you also know that my parole officer has been looking for me for 10 years. And like I've skipped out on my parole, so
You're a wanted man.
I'm a wanted man.
Gotcha.
Nice.
So I think I have this problem with beck and call. I have this problem with making my voice heard and making sure that people respect me and listen to my thoughts. So I think just out of desperation of not being able to really get anyone on my side, I sort of used this dirt that I'd accidentally come across on you, threatened to call your parole officer, to get you to help me take down beck and call in a very public way that'll sort of send a message of I'm important and don't fuck with me.
Sound good? You know, having someone who's kind of fearsome as Cal there beside you helps a lot. And again, y'all are motley mates and friends. Do you think you would you really turn him in?
No, I could barely even make the call, to be honest.
Okay.
But it was very much a like out of character desperation move.
All right. And
then
looks like you need a winter NPC.
Yes. So someone hired me for a job and I fucked it up. I'm torn because Abyssinian Max is amazing, but Paladino Avant terrifies me. I think it's Paladino Avant. She's like just super tall and graceful and like 3 of me at least, and very regal, and I think she like hits those notes of my keeper. Which I went with the prismatic queen for my keeper.
Ooh.
I have a picture of her and one of me on my character sheet. But yeah, she hired me.
Yeah, what job was it and what went wrong?
So I think she's a dancer. I think it was a sort of she finds a lot of importance in expressing herself through her art as well, and so she hired me to do a series of portraits, sort of a statement of self, a sort of crest of like that she could hang up in wherever she held court or whatever. Like, this is me, and what I interpreted or what I saw, what I passed across in these paintings is not what she wanted her portrait to be, not what she wanted her message to be.
A little too true, maybe?
Yeah. I have a lot of experience with being punished for painting lies, so I wasn't willing to paint convenient lies for her.
Mm. And is she powerful? Is she like the Prince of Winter? Princess of Winter? Or a high up noble in it?
No, I could definitely see her being the Prince of Winter.
All right. So your prince not pleased with the a little too starkly real paintings. I like that.
So I think it was very much a like it was on the public unveiling when she sort of looked at them closely enough to get the full message or to become unhappy with it. So everyone saw it sort of situation.
So you owe her 2 debts. Oh my. All right, let's go over to Red, your final 2. And it looks like you need someone in your court and an NPC. I mean, an NPC in your court and then someone else.
Someone is watching out for a family member of yours. You owe them 2 debts.
Anybody want to take that?
Watching out for a family member?
Mm-hmm.
I could probably do that, like while they're at one of these shows, right?
Well,
I'll be watching them.
Are you, it could be, or it could be, it's probably something, it could be something that was one time that was really important, or it could be that he keeps an eye on them over a long haul. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I could watch over family members. I think that also gives me something to do over that like 10-year span we haven't fleshed out yet. So I think
this would be him watching over. No, that's right. So it'd be you watching over some of his family members. So Red, who was the family member?
So do I understand that your Darkling is a younger person?
Looks younger.
Looks younger, yeah.
So maybe Red's younger sister.
All right. Sound good to you there, Carol?
Sure.
All right. So, Carol, and what's the name of your sister there, Red?
Margaret.
Margaret. So, all right, that seems cool. So, Carol, you probably arranged to see his little sister. She's probably looks the same age as you, and you're able to kind of protect and watch out for her to kind of keep Red's mind clear and not worried about her as much. That seems cool.
Makes sense. Yeah.
All right, and Red, your last one.
Someone is trying to teach you and keeps suffering for it. You owe them 1 debt.
And this one would be out of your court.
Maybe questions so loud, storm so elemental of summer.
All right. And what's he trying to teach you?
Let me take a look at how they look. Well, I would imagine how to control the elemental powers I have.
Okay.
But would we suffer for it?
Do you think it... Go ahead.
Maybe they don't like that he's teaching a coward from Autumn who doesn't want to fight. So he's kind of ostracized from his school.
Okay, because he chose to teach you, they're kind of shunning him. All right. Okay, and Cal, let's get yours too.
So I have 2, and I need 1 for a PC. I have someone lives in your territory benefiting from your protection, or I am protecting someone from a bully or stalker. They owe you 2 debts.
All right, and looks like for you, you need a PC.
Right.
Well, I mean, the protecting from a bully or stalker could just be adding on to what we already have with Beck and Call, or it could be something new.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, that could be something that kind of cuts both ways.
Okay, I think that seems cool too. So we're going to say Echo, and it's protecting from Beck and Call.
And I like that, like, me threatening to call your parole officer, you owe me 1 debt for that, and I owe you 2 because you made me feel bad about it.
Right.
All right, and your last one.
I have someone lives in your territory benefiting from your protection. I kind of like the look of Unbecoming Tim.
All right. Unbecoming Tim. That's a great name. All right. And why do you let him?
So looking at his picture, it kind of looks like he's wearing a prison outfit. And so I think we actually did we serve time together, or I don't think we served time together, but it's just kind of that, hey, we've been through a similar experience thing. I think he actually got out more recently than I did, and so I'm like, here, let me, you have a place to crash while you get on your feet, kind of thing.
I gotcha. So kind of paying it forward to help somebody out that, look out for someone in your same situation. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Carol, let's get your other 2.
All right, so I have someone is helping you keep your nightmares at bay. You owe them a debt.
All right.
Anyone want that?
You need,
Or
I think you need an XP. Or an NPC.
NPC.
I'm looking at my sheet. I was like, oops, that's not the right thing. Right? Yeah, I think you need an NPC from your court or an NPC from out of your court, but you're going to need to pick one for each of those, one out and one in for both your questions.
All right, so I liked Ashran from the Winder Court.
Ashmond?
Yeah.
Okay. And what does he do? Or she? I don't have that one.
He has like the smoke, so I imagine he can like pull memories out.
Okay.
Like if something is bothering me, he can just we'll store that away for a little while.
Okay, I can see that. So he literally comes into those dreams and removes these difficult things and helps you, in a more slow way get them handled. Okay.
Or I can come back to it when I can deal with it better,
Cool. And your other?
Someone has been tipping you off to some authority or threats movements. You owe them to that.
So that one needs to be out of your autumn court.
Right. So I'd chosen Katerina Skin. I think she's in the autumn court.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. And tipping you off to some authority or threats movements. You want to, let's see, do you think it's have you run afoul of the authorities before, or do you think it's some sort of hunter, some sort of monstrous thing, or hunters that are coming after you, or something like that?
I was just imagining she was involved in different gangs in the city, right? So she knows what the authorities are pursuing, or maybe new regulations coming out I should be aware of.
Okay. So she's just kind of trying to keep you abreast of, basically, if you're going to break the law. Is that right?
Yeah, especially in these like public venues, right?
Right.
So she probably like tries out different things in like smaller contexts first, and then I can, if it goes through, I can use it in these bigger venues. You know.
Okay. Do you think you feed together on occasion? You think she keeps an eye out for you when you go gathering glamour?
Um, it's probably like the opposite. Like I would go with her and make sure everything is going how she said it does, and
Okay.
then get some glamour through that.
Cool. All right. Excellent. All right, then. And we have a rival. Boy, we've had a whole bunch of stuff in here. We have a rival. So coming up with Patrick, pick someone here that is your rival.
So let's see. I just realized that the one I picked was basically the story I told with Beck and Call there, so I should probably pick a different one.
You want a second?
No. Squintborn. Shrikebin Darkling of the Autumn Court. It's that weird little doll thing.
Yeah. All right. Why? Why is that your rival? What?
And
I hardly know what to say. That's a he or a she.
She, they, whatever. Keep secrets from me and from the Freehold. So I just I know from the way they talk, from the way that they look, that what they're saying is not the true message that they're putting out there. But I can't get close enough. I can't understand them well enough to break through what that secret is. But I know that their words aren't their true meaning.
Gotcha. So you're very suspicious, and you're certain Squintborn is holding something back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Red, who did you pick for your rival?
So I'm thinking somebody from the spring, because we don't like each other very much.
Okay.
Um,
See, they suggest either Beck and Call, which would put us into a really tight dislike of him, or it could be Semolina Pilchard. Saint Coils is also on there.
Maybe the Beck and Call.
Okay. Says
Well,
tricked you into a pledge. What was that pledge?
I don't have anything great in my mind right now.
Okay. So we can pop that up then and play, but somewhere along the way he tricked you into making a pledge and took advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cal?
I went with Songbird Rex, who's a long-lost beast of summer. And they are my rival because they stole into my den and did something. I'm sure of it.
Stuff was just moved around. You could just tell, couldn't you?
Yeah, and I think I'm also missing that picture of my ex-fiance. I swear I left it in my den, but like I haven't been able to find it since I walked in and the place was in shambles.
Okay. That Songbird Rex is a mean-looking thing there, too. All right. So, came in and possibly took your picture. And Carol, who is your rival? Asher, you're muted, buddy.
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah. Which rival would you like there?
So I had one on my sheet. It is Beckon Call. High Caller. Oh no, that's someone else. Sorry. Mr. Pinch, Smokescreen Elemental of Autumn.
And you think that might be a loyalist, and loyalists are like the privateers. They're people that serve the Fae. They believe that the Fae weren't so bad. They're just misunderstood. Maybe I could change them.
Okay. Not a loyalist to the court, right? The court's against the Fae.
Right. But you can't prove it. But something in you sounds like makes you believe they're a loyalist. What you think you heard? What you hear or see that makes you believe that?
So this is someone in my court. So I probably saw them like conspiring with these new people, right? Like we established there are these new people coming in town. So I probably saw him talking to some of those. So I'm not sure that they're also loyal, I'm not sure their positions, but I know he's not necessarily all for our court. Yeah.
Okay.
Supporting other something else.
We've talked about that there's a lot of these privateers, you've been hearing rumors of privateers around. So you think he's in league with them and that these new people are could be these privateers you're hearing about?
At least some of them, right?
Okay.
Probably.
All righty. So we have finally gotten through character creation, and I know that really went very, very long. But I think there's some neat things. We certainly have built out, some neat connections and some cool stuff about our characters. I think we're going to take a bio break since we're a little over halfway through, so everybody can get a few minutes, shake it out, grab a drink, run to the restroom if you need, whatever. But let's take about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and get started into the adventure. All right? See you at about 10 till. There's a lot to do to set up.
Yeah, we might could have gone through and cut some more of that out.
Mm-hmm. That's a long character change for 2 sessions. All right. Oh well.
It's all really neat stuff.
It is all really neat stuff. All righty.
So I forgot to record the. I mean, I know I have the debts, but what the amount of the debts were, and whether they were owed to me or I owed them for the one with Echo and Red.
For the one with me, I ended up owing you 3 debts.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I really came off badly on that one. I like it.
Oh, but 2 of those are from my debt, correct?
Yeah, 2 of them are from you, and then the one from mine was also pointed at you, so it added up to 3.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you need all of them real quick? What you owe?
I think did I have one with Red as well? I thought I did.
Let's see. You have no. It looks to me like you
Just
have
the one with Echo.
3 NPCs. Yep. The only one with someone here is with Echo.
But
Okay.
off of Red's list, though, Cal has
Right.
one with Red.
Yeah.
So
And what's the amount on that one? Or do I owe Red for that one? I can't remember.
You owe Red 1 debt.
Okay, so I don't need to record it. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right. Let's see, everybody back? Yes. All right then. As I said, you guys are a motley. You're friends. You probably have, each of you could have a hollow if you wished, or you could have a hollow together. We're not going to build anything on our hollows. We can just, we'll describe as we go. But do you think y'all have a hollow together? And a hollow is a place that's in that border into the hedge, kind of a safe place from the mortal world, but it's also kind of separated off from Arcadia, so it's a safe place there. Do you think y'all have one together? Or do you all have separate?
And usually the Autumn Court has a lot to do with like exploring and mapping out the hedge. So I could definitely see a nice group hollow from 3 Autumn Court members there.
That sound cool?
Like
All
an
right,
outpost.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. So y'all have your own space that you have as a group, and just so we can envision for a moment, do we think it's somewhere in a building in downtown, or are we on the outskirts, or is it somewhere out towards the more wilderness?
I mean, I think Cal would prefer something at least accessible from his den, so it could be, in a building, but not too far away from where his den is.
Okay. Want to think suburbs then? Somewhere out in the suburbs, you'll have your hollow? Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. So you have a meeting place you can all go back to and be together. And I think I'm going to start with you there, Cal, as you are probably in your territory. That we'll safely say that. And it's been several days since you've seen Unbecoming Tim. And you're beginning to get a little worried. I mean, normally you'll see him fairly often, at least once or twice a week. And it's been a while now, a couple of, 3-4 days, when Regardless comes to see you. Let me look at regardless real quick to get myself acclimated on her. Yes, she's cute. Okay.
Regardless, I don't see you coming out to my woods all that often. What brings you out here?
Cal, I saw something that's bothered me, and it happened night before last, and I've been searching around since then, and your friend, Tim, I saw him going off with some changelings I didn't know, and they stepped through the hedge, but when they did, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right at all. Honestly, I'm afraid that they've taken him back.
Taking him back to the hedge?
Back to Arcadia.
To Arcadia? Oh, so these changelings, we have no idea who they are or who they represent.
I had never seen them before, and like I say, when I saw it, it bothered me. I had a feeling that something wasn't right, and so I started looking around. I have my ways through the hedge, but I couldn't follow their path. And well, I've been asking around, and no one else has seen him, and I figured I should probably come to you. If anybody could find him, it might be you.
Yeah, I haven't seen him either. What area of the hedge did they take him in? Like what region?
Well, he was downtown, and
Okay.
so when they stepped through, they entered into a part of the hedge. It was like barbed wire. It was harsh and very dark, and like I say, it's not somewhere I normally would go. But what struck me is that when I went searching through the hedge to find him, I can normally find a path of someone. It was as though he'd never even stepped through, or no one had stepped through. But the chill, it was cold.
Okay. I'll look into this. I'm pretty sure I can track him down. I know where he's been staying here with us. I can get something of his, and I should be able to track him. Thank you for telling me.
Of course, and be careful, Cal, because there have been others. They say there are others who've been disappearing too.
Okay. I won't go alone. I know some people that I can call on, and we can track him down.
Here's the address. She hands you where she's scribbled, and she's got very nervous handwriting. But you see that it's just off the Loop, which is downtown Chicago. It's kind of their bars and their some theaters, and it's the big hoppin' happening place. But this is off kind of a side street away from it into what could be called the more sleazy sort of bars. A couple of strip clubs, that sort of area.
Okay. All right. So I'm assuming she's done. I'll call up Red, or actually I'll probably call up Echo first.
Okay.
And just, go and visit. Maybe we're at our hollow or something like that.
Okay. You get a call there.
So you say that we're in the hollow together?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I go visit, and whoever's, if all the Motley's there, great. If not, you know, I'm talking to whoever wants to be in there, I guess.
Okay.
Do I know that if we are discussing this, do I know this this changeling that has been taken, kidnapped?
I think, let's say you all know, yeah, I probably brought him around. Like I said, I'm trying to introduce him. He's a fairly new changeling. He's, you know, I'm trying to show him, like, give him a community so he doesn't, you know, become another statistic or whatever.
Can I try to listen through his blood to what is happening to him?
Yeah, I suppose you could. Let's see. I'm trying to. I have such my sheet to look right now. I can't find it. There we are. Why don't we Why don't we do a put a face to a name first, to see there, for you, Red, how well you know him, what you know of him. So that's going to be, when you put a face to a name, or vice versa, roll with their season, which in this particular case,
I think is summer.
Is summer. So you would be rolling. Summer's roll is anger. So
Okay.
you would be rolling with anger. On a hit, you know their reputation, and I can tell you what most people know about them. And then on a 10 plus, you dealt with them before, learned something interesting and useful about them, or they owe you a debt. Or on a miss, you don't know anything about them. So why don't we roll there with anger?
Okay. So, all right. So I have 3 and a 6 plus 1. That's 10 because I have
Excellent.
1 and 7.
So you have dealt with him before, and my guess, and I'm going to kind of bounce off a little bit here with you, Cal. What sort of person is he? What's he like?
I think he is. So I think he's kind of like the wiry information dealer that everyone, like, he's new to this area, so he hasn't gotten his network all set up, but he's usually the one you go to who, like, knows information and knows how to put you in contact with people and all this other stuff. He ran, like, the whole black market thing in the prison.
Cool. Okay, so you know that about him, Red, but you know, you know him even a little better than that. Have you helped him out on occasion, or did you have some sort of dealings with him, you think?
Maybe I used some of my powers to provide him some information. He was interested in some information.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. So he owes you a favor, and for that, so you have a debt on him, because you've helped him out in the past, and you know him. He's a you know, seems like a nice enough guy. He certainly, you know, was you were willing to work with him, so you do know him fairly intimately. So yeah, you could try and do your scrying, I believe, if you'd like.
So I have a question.
Yes,
Do I mark my
Yes, that's what I was just
summer?
fixing. You should put 1 tick into the one of the boxes under anger,
Okay.
and you'll be using your scrying. So, if you'd like to, is that
Okay, so this is read the sitch.
so? You'll be choosing now a state for read the stitch. What sitch? What? How are you coming at this? Are you coming at it this is a friend? Are you coming at it with fear for him, sorrow that you've heard he's been taken? Are you mad? Are you drawing on your power? Are you feeling, are you meditating to where you're calm to search out? How do you see yourself doing this?
I think I'm worried about what's happening to him.
All right, so fearful. All right, so roll with fear, and again, check a little box.
Okay, so I will reroll selected. And this is 2 and 5 plus 2, that's 9.
Nice. All right, so with read a sitch on a 9, you will get some questions on, please.
I'd like to try and support him.
Okay. So you can roll on that, and that will give him a chance for advantage.
Yeah. What does it look like when you start trying to scry on him?
How about I put a little bit of blood on some surface, and then this blood will form into some kind of images that will give us some insight into what's happening.
That's perfect. So I think as it's starting to take a hold, but I think you look like you're struggling and you're not quite happy with it. I'm going to come up and touch the wall next to where you had touched that, and some of the color pulses down my arm and sort of spreads itself onto the wall there and mixes there with your blood to hopefully form a clearer picture. So you can roll a third die and see if it's better than either of your other two.
Oh, okay.
But I've got to roll.
You got to roll first, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Roll with their season.
Oh, it's his season. Okay. Autumn. So that's +1. I got a 5.
All right. This is a game where you fail up, so you will get to mark an experience for a fail.
Goody.
As you're, trying to work with him, you're going to get that read a sitch off of the 9. And so you get one hold. You can spend one of them now, but I'm going to give you a little bit of what you're seeing as you're staring into this blood pool, and you start casting out for Tim, and you can feel you're in your hollow, so there's you feel yourself going further into the hedge. Your kind of sight moving through the hedge, and you can see him sort of. I'm imagining it almost like a little bit of an overhead view. You can see him in your pool. You're looking down on him, and you see he's in chains, big manacles on his hands. And looking at him, he's clearly been beaten up. You could see a cut across his eye. You could see that his lip is swollen badly, and he's kind of semi-conscious. And you could see where those manacles are, those chains. They lead off, and it's just at the edge of the periphery. You could see another manacled hand on one side of him. So there's someone there with him. But as you're searching and seeing this, you could tell it's the hedge, and you could see that that the grass is like sharp, pointed looking grass around him, and you could see the hedge is sort of hanging over him with these thorn brambles, but the whole thing is coated in ice, and you feel a bit of cold as you're looking at this. Well, would you like to use your hold for something there?
Well, there is one that says, "What's really going on here?"
All right. As you are staring into this, and it's almost like your consciousness is flowing through, so you can get a better sight of it, and you see someone kind of move into your field of view. It is a It's Changeling, and he is enormously built, just massive muscles, but he's completely made, it looks of clay. And as he comes over, he's got with him a cup, a metal cup and a metal pan. He sets him down in front of him and reaches down, just sort of smacks him upside the head. And you can hear kind of, again, because you're centering in on his blood, you can kind of hear Tim's heartbeat as well. And so as he's hit, as he stumbles up, you can hear his heart race a touch. And he looks down at this as you hear this, "Get up. I know you're used to this. Tray stays on ground. Cup placed back on ground after you drink. Don't make me do something you'll regret." And Tim gives this sort of, a really angry look at him. As snow begins to fall, and you see the big clay guy look up. "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We've got nearly half of what you require, ma'am. Just give us a few more days." "Yes, ma'am. We'll hurry. Yes, ma'am." And as he says this, your vision begins to slide back out as this snow obscures your sight. You come back to yourself. Carol, are you there in the hollow with the rest of the group, or are you out somewhere else?
I think I'd be in the hollow.
Okay. Yeah. So you're seeing, him go into this this state, and you've heard this tale. What would you like to do? Do you know Tim?
Maybe I've seen him, but I don't really know him.
Okay. Just in passing, kind of as a friend of Cal's, maybe?
Yeah, I've seen his face, but I wouldn't know where to find him necessarily,
Okay. But you have been worried about these privateers.
Right.
So this is a confirmation a little bit of what you've been worried about a while.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I know a friend of his. I can go to that contact, right?
You could.
I don't know much about his life directly, but I would know who one of his friends are or something,
That sounds good. Why don't we sounds like we could roll put a name to a face kind of for that. Someone that you're trying to make that link to someone he would know.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. In this instance, I suppose you're kind of casting out a bit, but we'll say of someone you think is appropriate that's in his court, in your would be in his court. So that would be Summer. So you would be rolling with anger.
Okay. I didn't see the move for put a name to a face. Is that?
It's under the situational moves.
Oh, situational. Okay. It's not a basic move. Situational. Into the hedge. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Some of them are kind of highlighted. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm rolling Summer. That's 0.
What's that?
I just have a 0 in Summer, so
okay.
No pluses.
So roll your 2 dice.
That appear. I think that's a 7.
Is that your 5 and 2? Okay.
I think so, unless it didn't. Oh, I click reroll instead of roll. Sorry.
That's okay.
That must be someone else's. Okay, so I still got 7.
Alrighty.
1 and a 6.
Okay, then. Let's see. Let's why don't you pick somebody off the NPC chart then that you think
that's
someone
okay.
it's going to be someone out of Summer that you know is a friend of theirs,
All right.
friend of Tim's.
I like the turtle. Merk.
He's out of Spring, but if you'd rather, he's out of Spring. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one.
Okay. Yeah, it goes Spring, Summer, Autumn, Winter.
And I like Regardless out of Summer.
All right. Okay, cool.
The fellow Darkling.
Cool. So do you bring up to your motley that you think, maybe Regardless would be the one to talk to?
Sure. Yeah, I think she would know something.
All right. Well, Cal?
If no one else does.
I mean, she's the one who brought up to me that he's been missing, and what she saw was these changelings, strange changelings that no one seems to know who they are, dragged him into the hedge. So kind of what I brought you all here to do, or why I'm bringing this up, is I'm wondering if you're willing to come out with me to, she gave me this address, and it's in the middle of downtown, and go through the hedge with me and see if we can track him down. Because he's a new changeling and he needs our help. He can't just be left out there on his own.
So I think when Red was doing his scrying and I tried to help out there and it went terribly. I think I very much got the feeling that it was me mixing in there that stopped him from getting a clearer image, that stopped him from getting more of an answer. And so I think Echo sort of shrinks back, and you see him flush this sort of shameful pink just swirls up all through his skin. And so he goes off into a corner and pulls out a sketch pad and begins just painting furiously. And I'd like to try and make a portrait of him with my practice perfection.
Ooh, okay.
So let's see, I'm trying to figure out what emotion this would be. Yeah, I think it's sort of ashamed and inferior. I feel like I've got to make up for fucking up Red scrying there.
Okay, so what does
so
that?
It's going to be sad.
Sorrow.
Sorrow. Jesus, that's a 6.
Even with your 2?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, I'm terrible at things.
Okay. You begin drawing, but for some reason it's almost as though while you're painting him, his face is indistinct. You can't quite remember him. And it's a block. I mean, if you're not painting, you could kind of see him in your mind's eye. But as you're trying to paint it, it's as though you can't put it down there. Something makes you feel like he's fading.
And I think you just hear Echo sort of cursing under his breath, whispering to himself more and more furiously until he throws the sketch pad to the side, and it's just this 5 different takes on his face, but none of them would come out clearly or anything.
All right. Sounds like, Cal, you're suggesting at least go see where this happened.
Yeah. So I'm gonna come over to Echo, pick up the sketch pad, and kind of crouch down next to him. And hey, I mean, I get it. It's tough, and I know I'm asking a lot here, but I could really use your help on this one. And I'm trying to. I think it's a debt move to call in a debt.
Okay.
Cash. So lend a hand in my efforts is what I'm trying to do here.
Okay. So,
And
yep.
so yeah, you do that, and Echo says it's there's some sort of protection, there's some sort of block or magic in the way. It's something bad is going on. You're right. We need to look at this.
Okay. Yeah, I could really use your help on this. And then I turn to Red and Carol, and I could really use everyone's help on this. I think this is bigger. There's at least another Motley out there who's catching people, and it might be even worse than that, which means we need to nip this in the bud now.
I'd definitely like to investigate. Yeah, I
Okay.
do think it's bigger. I'd like to. I agree.
And I think once we get over into the hedge, into the area of the hedge where they are, I brought, and I pull out a spare set of clothes from Tim, and I'm like, I have these, and I think I'll be able to catch his scent and be able to track him through there. I think I can get us to him.
I'm in.
All right. Well, sounds like the motley mounts up and heads. Who has a car? Which one of you has a car? Nobody? You grab a lift?
I think I have a motorcycle, but I don't think everyone's going to get on that.
I could have a car for I've got to get painting supplies and transport some bigger work sometimes. So maybe I have like a cheap panel van.
Cool. All right. So everybody loads up into the van and you go roaring down towards downtown.
Really quick. Is there something painted on the side of this panel van?
Oh, there definitely is. I think it's like a sort of rolling hilltop nightscape that goes up into this sky, that the further up you get in the sky, the more sort of psychedelic and refracted all of the stars and the moon get, to where it's just like this chaos of colors as it gets towards the roof of the van.
What's it saying?
I think it's just it's talking about the like there is no limit, there is no roof. It's the universe, the world, your creativity. They just go out infinitely. Your dreams have no limit.
Ooh, nice. All right, you head through. It's midday. It's still daylight out, and you're whizzing through the traffic. It's Chicago, so there is a bit of traffic. But as you move into downtown and you kind of start heading through the streets, getting towards the loop, the easiest thing probably to do will be park somewhere and walk your way, because they have a lot of the streets blocked off for pedestrian traffic and stuff. So you park fairly close, heading through this district. During the day, there's nothing sadder than strip clubs during the day. I mean, just saying. And so as you get into this kind of seedy area, these are the real hardcore drunks that are already hitting the bars. These are the, these sleazier strip clubs. These are not the top end ladies that are up there. There's a guy going, nude ladies, they're so nude, they're not even wearing a smile. And you head past this sort of mess to where you had been, this address you have on your little card. And to either side of this side street, there is a bar on one side, and the other side is a pawn shop. You can see there's some of these drunks, and there's a little noise in the bar. And the pawn shop has that, the metal grates on the front that they pull down, and it is open. You see some people going in, people who look very desperate, bringing in things or leaving looking sad and disappointed at how little they got. But you start walking down this alley between them, which is where you were kind of directed to. And as you do, you can hear, it's a fairly long alley. You can hear voices down at the other end. And as you are coming around there, you hear, "Wait, no, just leave me alone. I've not done anything to you." "Shut up. You're coming with us."
Could I read a sitch again without crying, just, figure out what's happening?
You certainly can.
Maybe somebody could help me who is, street savvy?
Right. Anybody want to kind of help going along in this?
I can help.
I feel like I've helped enough.
All right, then, Carol. So you're going to be doing a support, which means you'll be rolling with Red's.
Autumn.
Season, which is Autumn. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're all.
It's the same. You're both Autumn.
Yeah. So that is fear.
Okay. How'd you roll?
Uh-oh. We put all the dice together. Let me do that again.
Here, I'll clear off some of these. And
Well,
actually,
I had sort dice on, so it put them in numerical order, which doesn't help.
right. What we'll do is, I'm going to, you've deleted them all. Just do 2. And then if you want to, for further rolls, you can highlight them and hit the green button at the top, re-roll selected, and it'll just re-roll those 2 over and over.
All right, that's good. So I got 7 and then +1 because it's Autumn.
All right, so an 8. So you are providing advantage for Red, but you are kind of, I'm guessing the 2 of you are advancing a little forward ahead of everyone as you're looking around. So you're kind of putting yourself, out there up front with him. Red, how'd you roll with advantage?
How do I choose? Okay, let me
Right.
roll.
What do you feel like is? What are you coming from in this with your emotion here? Are
Cautious?
you okay? And so with cautious, that
Is it in
what
the
does that
list?
work down to? So could be on the scared there.
Yeah, that sounds scared.
Okay.
Okay.
The fear.
So, oh boy. So I have 4 + 2, that's 6. If I got some help, I will get to 7.
No, you roll another die. You're rolling with advantage. Take roll 3 and take the top 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let me roll one more.
Don't roll the same number.
Okay. So this is 3 + 3, that's 6. + 2, that's 8.
Excellent. All right, so you have one question you could ask there.
Okay. Maybe what? Which enemy is most vulnerable or biggest threat to me?
All right. So as the 2 of you are walking down this alley, you get to about halfway down, and you can finally see at the other end, behind a dumpster, there is a rather short, stout. He's a changeling. Looks sort of like, he looks dwarvish, except he has a really long badger-like nose, but he's thick and stout. And you see that he has a knife, being held on a young boy that you recognize from the courts, or a young man, I suppose is more accurate, which is Carpenter Husk. And Carpenter's like, look, I haven't done anything to you. As you see this guy, you're coming with me. And he seems to be, moving up to grab hold of Carpenter there. And he seems to be quite a threat. He looks a dangerous, serious man as he is advancing. He doesn't seem to have noticed you two yet, though. What would you like to do?
Who's the two that you're talking about?
What's that?
Who's the two that you're talking about?
It's Red and Carol, who've moved forward, reading the sitch. They kind of advanced a little bit,
Gotcha.
looking around. The other two of you coming up behind. So it's you, Red, who's seen this person, who's gotten this view. What are you doing?
I'm going to retreat quietly and report to the Wolfman.
All right. So, Red,
And-
catch Carol, pussy back.
And when I hear, and I mean, Carpenter Husk is a friend of mine, so I probably even recognize his voice in this. I'm gonna come around the corner and just, hey, you, who do you think you are? And when they turn to look at me, I'm unleashing the beast. Like, I'm gonna show my full, like, you think you're scary? This is what's scary.
Nice.
Is that manipulate, maybe?
I actually have a move for this. When you frighten or cow others with your monstrous form, roll. On a hit, they're thrown off and make themselves vulnerable or flee. On a 10+, I get to choose, and on a 7 to 9, I choose 2. So it's, yeah, we'll see how effective it is.
And then I
All
think
right.
while he's distracting the guy, I'll try to mimic the kid.
All right, so you're trying to mimic Carpenter. All right.
Yeah.
And you roll. Yep. So first off, Cal, what state do you think you're using there?
Well, I think I'm using. Oh, I was going to say fear.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to cause fear, but I guess it's where I'm coming from, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, it's how you're feeling.
Okay. Anger is probably correct, so that gives me a 7.
Okay.
And so I have to choose 2, and I think I frighten others that I had not intended to. And I feel like more of a monster afterward.
All right.
So I mark a condition afterward, your choice.
Okay. I'll come to that here once we've kind of got through it. And Carol, how did you roll? What are you rolling with?
I rolled with powerful because I'm like using my powers to help this person,
Okay.
and I got a 10, so I get to pass
fantastic.
as the person for a short time.
All right. So
Yeah.
you're kind of you've already made this switch to look like Carpenter, and as Cal comes up and roars and looking fearsome, we see Carpenter looks at this and he's scared as well. He's clawing back and pushing his way back towards the edge of the alley as this dwarven badger, this badger man, he goes, fuck, grabs hold of Carpenter, and you see him reaching towards this wall, but he's kind of turned his back to Carpenter as he's reached back for him. Are you going to try and put yourself there and get in the way, Carol?
I was planning to use it as like a diversion, but it doesn't seem to be working out that way.
It would certainly surprise him to see two of them, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm imagining like tapping him on the shoulder, like
Okay.
surprise. So
Okay.
yeah, I think I'll try to surprise him instead of like putting myself in the place.
You've got a feeling that he's going to try and grab Carpenter and haul him off with him. So you're hoping that in this case to make him not do that, distract him away from being able to do that.
Yeah, like
Okay.
he's scared, and then someone surprises him in like a weird way.
All right. Well, then why don't we do a? I think you're going to try and manipulate him
All right.
because you're trying to trick him and all of that. So, what do you think you're rolling with there?
That's a good question because it doesn't seem like I was powerful, but it doesn't seem to be going the way that I thought. What are the probably?
Maybe joy?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe like joy because
It's almost playful and creative.
That seems good. Yeah.
I'm not very good at joy. I'm a shadow
That makes it all the more fun.
darkling. I didn't think I would be using joy, so I got a 10.
Ooh, fantastic.
Perfect, yeah.
So you get to pick 3.
Wow.
So you see the list there.
So I think I do want to confuse them and avoid entanglement, and then probably create an opportunity for this kid to get out.
That's fantastic.
Young man to get out.
That's fantastic. All right. So as you kind of move in, you can see that this Badger man is like, what the? And he is definitely looking like he's bitten off more than he wants to try and chew here. There's a big, huge wolf guy. 2 of his prey have suddenly appeared here. Patrick, what's Echo doing?
So we've got Carol up there giving Carpenter a chance to get away, and as I see him starting to scramble up, and the Badger there sort of considering what he wants to do, I think I've run over to the side of the alley wall here, and I have my hand up against it as color and pigment starts to leak out, and it flows along the brickwork of this building until it gets to that. You said there by a big like green dumpster.
Mm-hmm.
As it starts to flow over the dumpster, and it looks like eyes are opening up on it, and there's this like glowing light as the top of it opens, and there's like teeth, and the whole thing looks alive and ominous. And I'm gonna try and invoke a contract to try and do a bit of magic to help scare him off.
All right. What do you think your state is?
When you call on greater powers, mark clarity and roll. And
you're going to need a catch too.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes with the roll. I think I'm angry. It was that thing where he was like yelling at Carpenter to stop talking, be quiet, and come with me. That really got to me. So I will roll with anger. Which is a 6. Super good at everything.
You're gonna level though. All right. Well. So you were attempting to invoke this contract to do what?
To make that dumpster to cover it in paint and illusion and make it look like it was alive and on our side and threatening him, scaring him off.
All right. As you do this, you feel you're calling to the weird, and you're calling out for the very chaotic nature of Fey magic, and it seems like too much power is coming through. You feel it like pulling at you as this dumpster actually rears up, and it has the big mouth and teeth, and it goes chomp right back at you.
Oh shit.
I think you need to mark a condition.
All right. You choose. I choose. How you want to go?
I think I'll let you choose on this one.
I think I'm very insecure. Today has not gone well for me, magically speaking, and my magic is generally my only way to interact with the world. So I don't like that.
Okay, I guess you jump back from it as it's Red, you see this dumpster just attack your friend as we see Badger Guy going, what the hell's going on here? And he looks like he's fleeing. In fact, you could see him. He's reached into, he's still got his knife in his right hand, but he reaches into this pouch and you see him smear something against the wall. And it's beginning to get a faint, you're pretty sure he's trying to escape into the hedge.
So I'll try to channel.
Okay.
So first let me remove this. How do I mark it and delete? Okay. And then I will reroll those two.
Okay.
And it's 3 and 5, so 8 together. So I guess I get.
What are you rolling with?
I think for the channeling there is just a pure roll.
Which one? You're doing your primal forces?
Yes.
You will always get to add something if it just says roll there. So you're still adding something. What state are you in as you're doing this?
I think I'm angry. I want to stab him.
Okay, so you get to add 1 to it. So a 9, but still. And again, remember, we're always marking our boxes for the things we've rolled.
Sure.
All right.
I'm gonna take on disadvantage until I rest, and I think I'll take the conditions angry.
Okay.
And I will take the freehold, and I will try to teleport myself right in front of him to prevent him from jumping through that hole into the hedge.
All right. So you spend 1 whole whoomp. You can hop right over there. No roll required for that. As you jump right there in front of him, and he's having a bad day all of a sudden now. Because he's, this is not at all what he anticipated. So he sort of stumbles back from you. He bares his teeth and growls at you. And he's going to bite at you. If you would, why don't you roll a stay strong on this?
Stay strong?
Yes. As you're facing this challenge of him trying to bite at you, and you're trying to, stay in between him and this thing.
Okay. Well, then I guess this time I'm afraid. So I'm gonna go with the fear. And let me read all those things. It's 6 and 3 plus 2, that's 11.
Woohoo! All right, you can fend off his attack, keep him from biting you, and you can keep yourself, away from where he's going. But you can now feel behind you the hedge very thin there. So you're aware that if you stumbled back, you would probably go into the hedge. But you're knocking him away from being able to go and just to toss off this bite. Cal, what you doing?
So this badger is just, we can't really, take care of him, or at least scare him off, which is mainly what we've been trying. So
you could have. You just blocked his escape route.
yeah. So, I think I'm just gonna wade in, and I'm trying to knock him away hard down the alley, and so he'll run away down the alley. I don't know if this will be unleash an attack or manipulate, because I really want him to run away, not through the hedge, but off into the city.
Okay. I think it's going to be the unleash attack because I think it has some options in there that do what you want.
Perfect. All right.
What stage are you rolling with?
I mean, I think it's. Oh, go ahead.
And does anybody think? I mean, you're all right there up on this this guy. Anybody helping as he jumps into attack?
I can help. I'm actually I'm already blocking him, so I will distract him while the wolf will.
All righty. Then if you'd like to roll for support, what would you like to? You'll be rolling. It's autumn, so you'll be rolling with fear.
Okay. Three and 4. That's 7 plus. That's 9.
9. All righty. He's giving you help. So you get to roll with advantage there, Cal.
Awesome. Okay, and let's roll one more. Okay, so that's 7, 8.
8. All right. So you're going to get to pick one.
And I think it's frighten someone. I'm trying to scare him away.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you bash at him, kind of sweeping him off that direction. As I'm going to give you a hard choice here. Mm-hmm. He's going to go flying, and he is, you're not going to have too much trouble with him running off. But as you came in, you also kind of collided a little bit with Red. And you see Red is falling through where that hedge thinness has come. You can grab him and pull him out, but it will almost certainly mean you topple in. Or you could let him go, or you could go with him.
Oh, I'm going with him.
And so the two of you, Carol and Echo, you see your two friends just sort of Harry Potter at the train station disappear through. And as they do, there's this cold wind that hits the two of you. Behind you, down the alley, you see Badger Man go, "Fuck this!" And he's gotten down on all fours and is just scooting. He is moving. You could try and stop him if you wanted. But what do you do? What do you do, Carol?
I think I'll definitely morph out of his prey, right? I don't want him attacking me while
he's running from you. He's running from you.
Okay, running away.
Yeah, he's running away. He got smacked by Cal, and he's dipping. He's getting out. We still have Carpenter there, who looks very scared.
And a monster dumpster.
And Mr. Dumpster, who's still kind of... Once he did that initial chomp, though, he's not it's not... He doesn't have legs. He ain't coming after you. He's just... A very mean Oscar the Grouch.
Is the portal still open then? Can we go into
do you wish to go over there and check? Is that what you'd like to do?
Well, I want to comfort this person who's all... Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you move over and you're what do you say to him?
Well, I want to comfort him, but I also want to figure out what happened, right? So,
okay.
So you're safe now. What went on?
All right.
How can we get back at?
Okay.
Here's the mask, baby.
What mask? Oh, the move.
Let's see. I mean, I'm not even sure that. I think he's going to be willing to tell him. I think they're just going. I don't think there's a roll really needed on this one. As you go over there and start comforting him, he's thankful, if a little surprised to see himself. But It's like, you saved me. You saved me. Thank you so much. What are you doing, Echo?
I think I'm like I've still got eyes darting back and forth to that dumpster. I'm really worried about it, so I'm sort of edging around it on the opposite wall of the alley, and then I'm getting up closer to that portal. I'm just very like hesitantly sort of reaching out and pulling back and reaching out and sort of like sniffing at it, and I'm really unsure what to do with it.
All right, you can kind of that cold is still sort of there, but it's more like residual. And as you kind of do you touch it?
Yeah, I think I eventually do.
It's freezing cold, but it's solid. Your friends seem to have gone through.
It's solid as in like it stops me.
It stops you. The portal. It's now a wall. The portal you think is closed.
So yeah, I sort of beat at the wall there, and I'm trying to see if there's anything I can do to make it open again.
Well, that would be into the hedge.
Gotcha.
The situation.
So let's see. I'm definitely afraid. Like they've fallen through. I still feel very responsible for all of the fuck ups I've had today, and they've fallen through into somewhere dangerous, and I'm not going to be able to get to them.
All right then.
Since we scared him away, could I harvest glamour?
Yes, you could. I will let you do that if you'd like to roll Harvest Glamour. How'd you do, Patrick?
I got a 3.
Did you now?
Yep. Yeah, I did.
As you're pressing against the wall, you're trying to open it, and your hands, it's so cold, and you're pressing so hard that as you're trying to focus to open this portal, and it's not working. And as you pull your hands back, your skin is pulled away as you rip parts of your skin off where it's frozen to this wall. Probably going to need to mark a condition for that. And you were rolling Carol for glamour?
Well, I realize I don't have a condition, so that wouldn't help me very much.
Wouldn't help you much right now.
Yeah. But it's good to know that I can do that.
And Carpenter's looking at you, and he's saying, he told me that they were going, that there's more of them, that I was captured, and that his queen, I was going to his queen, but I told him I hadn't done anything to him. Why was he messing with me? He said the Lady of Frozen Shards was coming for us all. And as he says that name, I'm going to cut to my 2 people who have fallen through the hedge. As you stumble into a snowbank, around you are the dark, evergreen, kind of like boxwood trees, but of the hedge around you. And the wind is whistling, and there is snow. In the distance, you can hear what sounds like the snuffling of hounds. And we're at our end, so I think it's probably best for me to just end with looking down towards the snuffling Cal and Red. You see 2 enormous mastiffs, each of them with 2 heads and red, beady eyes, dripping black saliva that, as it touches the ground, sinks through the snow with a bit of smoke and mist. They lock eyes on the 2 of you and let out a quadraphonic howl. And so we shall end our session there. I hope that was fun. I know we spent a bunch of time doing character setup. I apologize a bit for that, but I think our characters ended up being super neat. Let's hit our end of sessions real quick. So, heck, Patrick, you're probably gonna get it in advance.
I have 4 XP.
Yeah. So, did you risk or sacrifice to interfere with your rival? I don't think we saw anybody's rivals pop up in this one. I will be trying to do that. Did you express your seeming or your kith? Anybody feel like they hit that one?
I think I did with.
I'm sorry. Asher, you were saying?
What are the seeming and kith?
Your kith is your darkling, and your seeming is your darkling, and your kith is the particular type of darkling you are. And I don't know if I really pushed people on that, did I, when we were doing so much of our setup? But you'll see underneath kith on your character sheet.
Yeah,
I do.
Tunnel grub, but I don't know what that means. So.
It might be worth, since I didn't hit it before, when we start next time, we'll try and go ahead and define if people haven't had a chance to do that. But I do think you showed your darkling in this one.
Okay.
I thought that there were several moments that very much felt like a darkling to me. Cal, Derek.
Yeah, I mean, I intimidated the badger thing a couple times.
Yeah, you were all over it. Red, do you feel like you hit yours?
I'm not sure what those are. What are the kind of requirements for this?
I get the feel, Patrick, maybe you have a thought on it as well, but I get the feeling it's really kind of digging into what your seeming is. It, really embracing that weirdness of what you are and doing a lot with it. Which is, what do you think, Patrick? What is your thought?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of digging into how you're different, how you're not human anymore, what you've lost in the process, what you miss from your old life. So if your kith and your seeming are sort of the outside manifestations of the changes that the Fey world has made in you. So when you deal with that sort of thing of not fitting into the mortal world or not being your old self anymore, I think that's when you're exploring your kith and seeming. I think that's sort of what it's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Like, for an example, I really felt like, Derek, when you got up there and you did the kind of roar to frighten and then into the angry up attack, it was very much, that felt so much like the beast. Did you feel like Red was exploring that very strange blood-borne mentality feel to the character? I thought you did, but
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not certain.
Okay. Well, would others like to opine on whether, did you feel like you were seeing some of the oddness of what that elemental is?
I felt like it, especially like when we were in the hollow, and your first sort of reaction to hearing about Tim was, okay, well, I'll just smear some of my blood on the wall, and I'll gaze deeply into the magical nature of it, and we'll just have a vision. Like, that's very not a normal reaction.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
all right.
I agree. Yeah. Okay, and Patrick, I think you had some moments, certainly in failure.
I was dealing a lot with my limitations, so I'll go with that.
Excellent. All right. So, did we express our season? So, for most of you, were you expressing that fear? Were we having a lot of moments where you were really pushing the fear aspect of your characters? And Patrick, with Winter, what is yours? Sorrow?
Sorrow.
Patrick, I'll start with you. Do you feel like you were hitting that season?
Yeah, I feel like the other way around, my roles sort of reinforced that, where it kept creeping up more and more on me, my like inability to help them, my uselessness in this situation. I think that was sort of overwhelming me by the end.
Mm-hmm. And then, and in the end, you end up even taking a condition that reinforces it as well. So I thought that was good. Philip, do you feel like you were embodying any? Was there moments you felt like you were really showing fear?
I think the concern that we had throughout what's happening, and we need to immediately act on this. That I think is for all of us a good example of
I kind of agree. Eric, what do you feel on that?
I mean, I feel like I generated a lot of fear out there.
I liked your push for the tension too. You were constantly ramping that. This is something we've got to do. This is bad. This is really, really bad. I thought that was really well done. Asher, feel like Carol played into the fear there?
Yeah, I like how we did it too, because it pushed towards action. Because a lot of times, fear can just make you afraid and like hold up. So I would like if it was defined by that, I would say no. But I really liked how we used fear to like push things forward.
Mm-hmm. I did too. I did too, and I liked when you went in there to help with Carpenter. Getting there because of your concern, your fear for him. That was really good. All right, so that's another mark. And did you express your humanity?
I wanted to say I felt like Cal definitely expressed his humanity, because as much as he was growling and angry at the end, like that moment of coming up and trying to comfort Echo was really human and nice.
That was that was beautifully done. Anybody else have a nomination? This is probably a good one for saying, I saw it in your play. Or want to, nominate something you felt like you really touched into your humanity. We were a weird crew tonight. I mean, we were doing a lot of those, big stuff, and it was, again, a fairly short play time, so we may not have had as much time to delve into the humanity. But I'll agree there with Cal. All right, moving on to the last one. Did you concede a conflict? Concede a conflict means running away, right? I mean, it would mean not winning. I think y'all kind of won your conflict. So I don't think we got that one. So did anyone get to 5? Patrick, I imagine you did.
I did.
Anyone else get to 5? Okay. Since we will be, we only have one more session, I will say that if we hit that 5th, because y'all should be up a little bit, probably to 3. Is that where most people are, somewhere in that range? Yeah. If we hit that chance in play, we'll go ahead and we'll immediately let you choose moves. And it's even possible that depending on what we do, I may even call a session and go ahead and let some people, let everybody get a chance to get something, because everybody wants to try out something new too. So I hope y'all had fun. We went over by about 5 minutes, but I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great.
I had a really good time.
Yeah, it was great.
And next time around, we won't have so much beginning of play stuff, so we'll get right into the interesting actiony bits and learn more about these people. So I'm going to stop the broadcast here.